It's recording. Good morning. This is Rhonda Ohlson from Woman Shine, doing day 5, Aging with Ease and Grace and Seniors Week. So welcome, ladies. And we'll be doing a lesson today about breathing. And breathing, when we can open up our breathing, it also helps our movement in our body. I love this lesson. It's called Seesaw Breathing, and it really helps to free up the diaphragm. The diaphragm is like a trampoline in the middle of your body, sort of about here in your body. And I'll just pin my video so that I can see myself. Yeah, so it's about here in the body, and it goes, when we breathe in, the diaphragm goes down, and as you breathe out, the diaphragm comes up. So come and lie on your backs. And Tanya, just make sure you just shift and change when you feel uncomfortable. And feel how you're giving your weight to the floor this morning. Feel how your heels are touching the floor. Notice the back of your knees, your calves, your thighs touching the floor, weight in your buttocks. Notice the space under your waist. Sense your lower ribs touch the floor. Feel the point of contact of your shoulders on the floor and how your arms are lying. And just find some comfort for yourself. If you feel any tension in your shoulders, Tanya, just move your arms or put them on your body or do something that makes you more comfortable. And just be aware this morning of your breathing. Notice the length of your in-breath and the length of your out-breath. And where does your body move as you breathe? Is it just in your belly? Is it in the middle of you? Is it in your upper chest? And do you just think of the front of you breathing? Do you have any awareness of how you move, how you can breathe in the back of you, the part that's touching the floor? And do you have any sense of your breath underneath your armpits? And bend up your knees so your feet are flat on the floor. And place your hands on your lower belly with your tips of your fingers touching and your hands on your lower belly. And can you take a breath into your lower belly so that the tips of your fingers come apart, those middle fingers just move slightly apart as you breathe in. Your hands are down below your belly button, sort of near your pubic bone. And you're breathing in and feeling how your hands can lift. And can you imagine that you've got a ball in your belly? And that as you breathe, that ball just gets bigger. You're breathing into your belly and then releasing. And can you imagine those long sausage balloons that kids used to play with? And could you imagine that one of those is filled with water, and that what you're going to do is squeeze the top of the balloon, of the balloon, so that the bottom pushes out, and then you're going to squeeze the bottom so that the top gets bigger. Can you have that image of that like one end gets bigger and one end gets smaller? And what we're going to do is take a breath down into your lower belly so that you get bigger in your belly and your chest flattens. And then as you breathe out, can you breathe out and draw the breath up into your chest on your out breath? So your belly gets small and your chest gets bigger. So kind of like a seesaw, or this image of the balloon, one end gets bigger and one end gets smaller. So you're breathing into your belly and breathing out, pushing the air up into your chest. And breathing into your belly and pushing the air up into your chest. And feeling that as you breathe out, the chest expands, so this balloon fills up this area. Underneath you feel your breastbone lift up, the collarbones move, the ribs move, underneath your armpits and back, that pushes back into the back of you. Breathing into your belly and out into your chest. And then let that go and rest. And just notice, has anything changed in how you're lying on the floor? Has anything changed in your breathing just from doing that little movement? Bend up your knees once again. And this time, can you put your hands on your chest, your upper chest, just above your breast? And this time, can you take a breath in and fill your chest up? So like the balloon is, you're squeezing the bottom of the balloon now, and the chest is opening out at the top. So you're breathing into your chest, and then you let the breath go, squeeze your chest and push the air down into your belly. So you're breathing into your chest and you're feeling that opening happening, the sternum lifting, breastbone lifting, the collarbones moving, the ribs moving out under the armpits, getting more space. And then as you breathe out, the chest flattens, just like you're squeezing that balloon, and then the air goes down into your belly, into your lower belly, and then your lower belly expands like a balloon. And just doing that movement a number of times and noticing, is it different from the other one? Was one more familiar to you? So some people are belly breathers and some people are chest breathers. So, and doing different activities, we need different ways of breathing. If we want to have power in our body, to lift a weight or something, we'd want to have the breath in the belly. But if we're running sprinting or something, we'd want the breath up higher. And then, of course, our breathing's affected by our emotional state. So when we're stressed and tense, often we have this shallow breathing that comes up in the chest, like a heave and gulp method. And then in singing, we want the breath down in the belly to get the power down here. Just let that go and rest. And sense how you're lying on the floor. Bend up your knees once again. And now can you breathe into either your chest or your belly, it doesn't matter, but hold your breath. And then can you push the air up and down with your breath held? So you're going chest, belly, chest, belly. Chest, belly, chest, belly, chest, belly. If I can come side on. Chest, belly, chest, belly. So you're holding the breath and moving your belly up and down. Pin myself to. So I'll come here again and show you chest. I'm breathing into my chest, into my belly, chest, belly, just holding my breath. And what happens when you do this movement, the diaphragm, like that mini trampoline in the middle of you, goes down like a bowl and up like a hat. And it just really gets that movement happening in the diaphragm. And just rest from that. And sense how you're lying on the floor now and notice your breathing. Bend up your knees once again. And this time, can you take your awareness to your right hip joint, where the belly and your lower belly and your leg meet in that right hip joint. And imagine that you could breathe a ball down into that right hip joint. And then take your awareness to your left shoulder. And can you breathe into your right hip joint and then breathe out and take the ball up into your left shoulder? So you're doing this breathing kind of diagonally, breathing down into your right hip, letting your belly push out, breathing out, pulling into your left shoulder. And imagine this ball of light. You could have it a particular color, or it could be a ball of, could be water, like a bubble of air or something, or a bubble of water, a round thing of water somehow going up from one to the other, whatever image. So feeling the ball in your right hip, not just in the front, but in the back and the sides. And as it goes up and you're breathing out, you may feel that connection up through your back, that your parts of your back press into the floor till you press that left shoulder into the floor, and the front expands and the sides expands and under your armpit expands. Breathing into your right hip and breathing out into your left shoulder. And just going gently, no straining. It's supposed to want the movement to be pleasurable and easy. And then let that go. And rest. Sense how you're lying on the floor now. Bend up your knees once again. So bend your knees up once again. And this time, can you breathe into your left shoulder and out into your right hip? So you're switching the breathing around, breathing into your left shoulder and out into your right hip. And noticing what it's like going this way. Is it easier than the other way? Or harder? Or not notice anything? And can rest from that. Let that movement go, but leave your knees up. You can leave your knees bent up for the minute. And now can you hold your breath and breathe into either your shoulder or your hip, your right shoulder or your left hip, and then just push the air from one to the other. So you're breathing into your right hip and taking the air up into your shoulder. So I'll show you this. So you're breathing into your right hip and you're going across the diagonal. So you're holding your breath and breathing from your right hip to your left shoulder. And just doing it as long as you're comfortable, and then rest when you've had enough of that. And just take a rest. Let your legs come long and have a rest. Sense how you're lying on the floor now. Notice the spaces in your body. Notice how you're breathing. Feel how you're contacting the floor now. Bend up your knees once again. And now can you bring your awareness into your left hip and take a breath into your left hip joint. Feeling the big ball expanding there, and then pushing the air up into your right shoulder. From your left hip joint to your right shoulder. And feeling what it's like on this side. It may be more difficult, it may be easier. Just notice how that air goes from your left hip joint to your right shoulder. And then let that go and have a rest, but leave your knees up. Now can you take the breath into your right shoulder and go down into your left hip. And feel how that is for you. Is it easy or difficult or different from the other side? And just doing the movement lightly and easily, releasing any tension in your jaw. You might feel comfortable removing those glasses, Tanya. Just sort of. And then rest from that. Now can you hold your breath either in your right shoulder or your left hip and just move the breath from one to the other, holding your breath, but you're moving that ball of air from one to the other with the breath held. And just rest. Let your legs come long and have a full rest. Sensing how you're lying on the floor now, the point of contact you're making. Notice your breathing. And come and lie on your right side. You can put a cushion under your head or you can have your hand under your head, whatever's easier for you. Is that okay on your shoulder, Nu? Okay, yeah. Okay, so in this position, can you do that movement of breathing into your belly and out into your chest? And this time we have a constraint because the floor is stopping you moving on that right side. So the air has to move somewhere else. You're breathing into your belly and out into your chest. And it might make you yawn, makes me yawn. And just rest from that. Stay on your side. And now can you breathe into your chest and out into your belly? Feel what that's like. And let that go. And now can you hold your breath and take a breath into either your belly or your chest, and then move that ball of air up, down with your breath held. Now there are different spaces that become available, different places that move when you are lying on your side here. Maybe you can feel something more moving under your left armpit. Or maybe you could even feel the breath pushing the right side of you into the floor. Okay, just rest from that and come back online and lie on your back. And sense how you're lying now. Noticing the parts that are touching the floor. Is that changing at all? Noticing your breathing. Noticing the left side of you and the right side of you. And come now and lie on the left side. And Tanya, if you're uncomfortable, are you okay there for the moment? Okay, we won't be here very long. Just shift if you feel that that's uncomfortable for you, and new too if it's uncomfortable on your shoulder, let me know. Yeah, okay. So again, breathe into your lower belly. Take a breath into your belly and breathe out into your chest. So you're breathing into your belly and out into your chest. And feel how is that different from your other side? The different parts that where your breath is more available. So you've got a constraint. One side doesn't move very much, and the other side can move more. And just let that go. Rest. Let's do the opposite movement now, breathing into your chest and out into your belly. And feeling what that movement's like. Breathing up into the chest and out into your belly. And let that go. And now can you take a breath either into your chest or your belly and push that, hold your breath and push the air up and down. So you're breathing into one, either the belly or your chest, and you're holding the breath and pushing the air up and down. and feeling what it's like on this side. And let that go and come and rest on your back. And feeling how you're giving your weight to the floor now. Is anything you feel that the ground can support you a little bit better? And notice your breathing, the spaces inside your body. Are there any parts that have just like that have opened up a little bit more from doing these breathing movements? Now, the next movement is lying on your belly. Do you have any problems with that? Tanya, how do you go lying on your belly? And no, you're okay. Okay. Now, lying on your belly, if you just maybe put something under your chest or under your shoulder. Yeah. Are you okay, Tanya? There. Right. Yep. Okay. And no. Yep. Okay, good. This time, can you breathe? Do that same movement we did on the front, but breathing into your lower belly and breathing out into your chest. And this time we have a constraint in the front of you, which enables the breath to go more into the back of you. And you may feel that sensation of that as you breathe into your lower belly, you're kind of like pressing your belly into the floor. And then as you breathe out into your chest, you're pressing your chest into the floor more. And let that go. And now can you do the opposite? Breathe into your chest and push the air out into your belly. Breathing into your chest and pushing the air out into your belly. Just going slowly, easily, lightly. If you're feeling any effort anywhere, just reduce the amount that you're doing. And then rest from that. And now can you take your breath either into your belly or into your chest and hold your breath and push the air up and down in that position. And rest from that. So how are you going on your tummy? Are you okay a little bit longer? Or Tanya, how are you going? You all right? Anu? Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. So if you start feeling uncomfortable, just roll over and I'll realize that I need to stop. Okay, so now we're going to take your awareness into your right side of your pelvis and the left shoulder, like we did on the back, but now we're on the front, and breathe into your right hip and then out into your left shoulder. And notice the parts of you that are where you're creating space, parts that press into the floor, and rest from that. And now can you take that, breathe up into your left shoulder and go down and breathe out into your right hip. If you're uncomfortable, Tanya, roll onto your back or something, or your side, or okay, yep. So your left shoulder, right hip. Breathing into your shoulder and out into your hip. Feeling the parts that press into the floor and feeling the back of you. There's more space available for movement in the back of you now. And rest from that. And now can you hold your breath and take the air into that left shoulder, right hip. And rest from that. Just have a rest. Stay on your stomach. Okay. Now can you breathe into your left shoulder, left hip, and breathe into your left hip and out into your, push the air up, out into your right shoulder. Breathe into your left hip, push the air up, out into your right shoulder. You're squeezing one end, squeezing the other. Like that image of the balloon, you're squeezing one end and the other gets bigger, and you're squeezing the other end, and the other end gets bigger. And then rest from that. Then can you breathe into your right shoulder and out into your left hip? Sorry about that. And let that go. And now can you hold your breath and then breathe into one of those, your left shoulder, or your right shoulder, or your left hip, and then hold your breath and squeeze, take the ball of air from one to the other. And when you've had enough of that, just come onto your back and rest. Just go slowly onto your back and have a rest. And sensing how you're giving your weight to the floor now. Noticing your breathing. The one thing that you may notice is the ease of breath. When we're tense and tight, it's not easy. We have to kind of like push to get the air in and out. Bend up your knees once again. And remember that movement that we did the first day of rocking the pelvis forward and back, with the idea of the water tipping between your legs and tipping towards your head. Just do those little movements of rocking your pelvis, like your pubic bones going away from you as the back arches, the pubic bones coming towards you. Or you could think of the water going between your legs as your back arches, the water going towards your waist as your back flattens. You could think of the tailbone tipping up between your legs as the back flattens, or pointing down towards the floor as your back arches. Or you could think of your sit bones. You had eyes on your sit bones, and the eyes are looking up towards the ceiling as your back flattens, and they're looking down towards the floor as your back arches. Just any of those images, or you could even feel your sacrum on the floor, rocking like a rocking chair over that sacrum. You could feel the iliac crest, those bones on the front of your pelvis, tilting one way and tilting the other. Or you could just think of your pelvis as a bowl, as a ball rather, rolling, or a bowl, tipping one way, tipping the other, or rolling one way, rolling the other. And noticing as that pelvis moves, what parts of how does that affect other parts of your body? Is anything else taken along for the ride? So as your pelvis moves, notice what happens in your waist area. Notice what happens to the ribs. But as you rock your pelvis, so the waist comes towards the floor, those lower ribs at the back get closer to the floor. And as you rock the pelvis forward to the back arches, those lower ribs lift up off the floor. You may sense the sternum, the breastbone in the front. Comes closer to the floor as your back flattens, moves away from the floor as your back arches. You may sense where the collarbones are, these two little knobs at the top of your, under the bottom of your neck here on the front, or just the bottom of your throat, that as you the water tips between your legs, as you arch your back, that the collarbone and the pubic bone move apart. You get longer in the front, and the collarbone and the pubic bone move together as your back flattens. So the sense of that movement, they come together and then they come apart, and they come together and they come apart. And noticing what your chin does, that at one point your chin comes closer to your chest, and at another point the chin goes away from your chest. It's feeling that. Okay, just rest from that. And now we're going to do, yes, have a little rest. Yes, let your legs go long and have a rest if you like. You can let your legs go long, Tanya, if you want, or just have them up, or whatever you like. Bend up your knees once again. And this time I want you to imagine that you've got a string on your tailbone, and you're just moving that string to lift your tailbone so that your tailbone comes off the floor and your pelvis starts to lift off the floor, and your waist presses a little bit closer into the floor. So you're just coming up one link at a time, lifting, so your pelvis actually lifts up off the floor, but you start at the base. You've got that string on your tailbone, and you're just gently lifting up your tailbone so your lower back starts to lift up off the floor, and you'll eventually come to the weight on your shoulders, and you feel how your chin comes closer to the chest. So you're pressing through your feet, so your pelvis lifts up and your weight comes up onto your shoulders. And then come back down again, one link at a time, making sure that each of those vertebrae in your back press down into the floor. Just so you can come down one link at a time, just feeling. And especially when you get around the waist area, what can you do with your shoulders? And you take your chin away from you so that your back can come down one link at a time. And next time you come up into the air, can you stay there? And can you do that little movement of breathing into your belly and out into your chest in this position? Breathing into your belly, out into your chest, into your belly, out into your chest. And it's quite a strenuous position, so don't hold it for too long. Just do it as long as you're comfortable and then come down. And maybe just come down now. You come down and just rest on the floor. And let your legs come along and rest. Sensing how you're resting on the floor now, noticing your breathing. And very gently bend up your knees and roll to your side and come up to sitting. So find a comfortable place to sit because we're going to be here for a little while, just a few minutes anyway. And can you place one hand on your belly and one on your chest? One on your belly and one on your chest. One hand on your belly, your lower belly, right down to your pubic bone. Down, yeah, sort of right down. You can see me. Right down here, down near your pubic bone, and one on your chest. And in this position, can you do that breathing into your belly and out into your chest? Into your belly and out into your chest. Into your belly, out into your chest. And then can you swap that around? So you're breathing into your chest and out into your belly. Into your chest and out into your belly. And then doing that chest belly movement, like holding your breath in one part and breathing. Chest, belly, chest, belly, chest, belly, chest, belly. And just rest from that. Last night my daughter came home from work and she'd been trying on dresses in the shop, and she got this dress up over her head and couldn't get it off, and she panicked and kind of like was really struggling, and she came home last night with a really sore neck, and so I helped her. But what was happening was her diaphragm had totally, she kind of panicked when that she couldn't breathe, and she'd been doing lots of sport like swimming and doing little weight training and things, so her body was tight anyway. And then this a sudden lifting like this, opening her spine up, but she just tightened really in that diaphragm. So I gave her some of these little movements to do to release that holding in the diaphragm, and she's so the diaphragm is a place that can just, if we have a shock or a stress of any kind, we can just tighten in there. Like it's the sphincter movement. You know, I told you about that jellyfish where the breathing in, we go, the diaphragm goes down, breathing out, it comes up. And so in our body, we have all these, what are called ring muscles. And so this is a natural pulse that goes on like this. And when we get stressed, we'll either go like that, freeze, or like that and freeze, or somewhere in between, so that we can't do this pulsing movement. So these little movements of the diaphragm like this, of the breathing, like breathing into your belly, the seesaw breathing, just help to teach the diaphragm how to move a bit better. And I teach people to sing, use their voice. This is a movement that I do a lot. So to sing, you need to use the diaphragm. So as we sing, we breathe into the belly, and then as we kind of like want to push the air out through the voice box. So it's like ah, and it's like using the diaphragm. So it teach people to put their hands like this and go ha, 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 or in the front ha, ha, ha. So the diaphragm has to move. And if we're tight and tense, the diaphragm, if I tighten my diaphragm, you can hear my voice. I get that constriction in the voice. Whereas when I can breathe into my belly, that's where the breath is. So if I'm like this, my diaphragm's tight and I try and make a loud sound like ha, can't do it. There's strain in here. But like the sound can come from the belly, ha, there's a whole different feeling. And this is our power. This is in this diaphragm areas where we shut ourselves down. This is our personal power area. And when we have learnt to feel ashamed or feel not good enough, we'll tighten and hold in that area. So these kind of movements just help to move that whole area. Okay, so just sense how you're sitting and feeling. Can you be aware of your lower belly, that your breath can come down into your lower belly? And you can create more space in there. And when you're ready, just bring yourself up to standing. And just sense how you're giving your weight to the floor. And place one hand on your belly and one on your chest, and do this seesaw breathing and standing. So you can breathe into your belly, out into your chest, or into your chest, out into your belly, or you could go straight to holding your breath and moving your belly up and down. And then go from right shoulder to left hip. Holding your breath, breathing one to the other, left shoulder to right hip. And then let that go. And just have a little walk around and sense how you're moving now, how you're feeling in your body. And come and have a sit down and we'll have a little talk about the lesson. And I'll unmute you all. So I'm just curious to know how your shoulders and body are feeling after doing that lesson.
My shoulder feels fine.
Yeah, freer. Yeah. It's amazing that, yeah, just when we can do that little thing with the breathing. That's why I kind of was thinking what would be a lesson that would help your shoulder.
Oh, thank you.
And that's what I thought about. Yeah, and yours too. No, it's interesting you both had sore shoulders. So, yeah. Better. Yeah.
Actually, it started to feel better after yesterday.
Did it? Oh, good.
It's even
after yesterday's lesson. Good. No. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the lessons that I find for myself too, because I've got I had a surfing accident. I've got a big scar across my shoulder, so my shoulders are always it's always the area that if I stress myself, it's there. So but the breathing are the things, especially when I do that diagonal breathing up into that shoulder and down, like across like that, really helps my back. And notice how do you feel your spine is supporting you now? Does that make sense to you? Like sometimes we feel like our spine isn't supporting us and we kind of slouch and it's an effort to stay upright. But do you have a sense of your spine, how it supports you at the moment?
I'm conscious of my spine.
Yeah. And Nu, what about you?
I'm a bit more aware of the whole body.
Yeah. So with this lesson, what we're doing is creating more spaces inside as well. Like, just doing those movements in various positions. And there's many more variations of it, but I just did that today. We could come onto the hands and knees and do it in that position and all sorts of different ways that movement can be done. Okay, so this week we've looked at, I think, have you been here every day, Nu, or just about?
Yeah, I've been here
You've
every
been here
day.
every day, so both of you have. So, so the first day we did a lesson, the pelvic rock, which we did a little bit of in that lesson then. So we looked at flexion, extension. The next day we did the rotation lesson, looking at lying on your back, moving your hips. So just seeing how you rolled, how you turned in one direction and how you turned in the other direction. And then the third day we did a movement in lateral flexion, the sideways flexion movement. And yesterday my mind's gone a blank. We did, can you remember what we did?
Oh,
There's strength from the knee to the hand.
Oh, that's right. We did calming the arms through the pelvis lesson.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. So that was kind of like incorporating the integration of the whole body into the spiral kind of pattern as well. And today we did the breathing lesson to help just create more spaces inside so that movement's more available. So I hope this has been helpful to you. And
Yes, thank you.
yeah. So if you think back of how you felt at the beginning of the week and how you're feeling now, do you notice anything, or you learnt things? Or can you just come forward a bit, Nu? I can't see your face.
Oh, no, I have to go back.
Come back a bit. Yeah, that's better. So are you? Is there anything you'd like to like? Are you noticing that you're feeling today compared to at the beginning of the week? Or
Yeah, I think overall I feel much more flexible.
flexible? Yeah.
Yes.
Moving with more ease.
Yes.
And do you have more awareness of how you're moving, of where you're
Yes,
holding?
actually, now I think when I go for a walk,
Yes.
I think about it all the time now on which part of me was moving and
yes.
Yeah.
So there's some parts that have woken up more.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. And Tanya, do you?
Yes, particularly when I go for a walk, is excuse me, is when I am really aware of how I'm moving,
Okay.
and that sort of oily feeling that I have. I like.
Yeah. Good. So I just want to sing you a little song. It's called "Wake Up to Yourself," and I have a CD with this song on it. Oops, wrong way, that way. And it goes with the book Sovereign Woman, which has a lot of these exercises that we've been doing in it. Sovereign Woman is like, I think the culmination, or to me, of what Feldenkrais is really about is getting out of our box, coming out of the box so that we can have more options and choices in our lives to live the life we want to live and to create what we want to create. And I applied my Feldenkrais training to learning how to sing. And at 67, I sang the lead in a little local opera in Mullaney, and using my Feldenkrais awareness to free my body and organize myself so that I could sing with power. Because to sing opera, you need to sing with a lot of power. So I wrote this book about my journey, and also in it, when I was in Mullaney, for 3 years, I used to teach little classes to people about what I'd learned from Kim, from my singing teacher. I'd apply, I'd teach them. And so then I compiled them all together into the book. And each chapter has a little bit of a story. It has the exercises, and then it has songs. And so they're available if you're interested in that. This is one of the songs that I wrote, and my singing teacher played the harp, so that I'll actually send you a couple of these songs so you can listen to them with the harp on them. But this is a song called Wake Up to Yourself. Wake up to yourself, learn where you hold tight. Wake up to yourself, there's no need to fight. Feel it like it is, tighten even more. Learn to be aware and you'll open every door. Pay attention to yourself by being kind. Let go all those judgments, leave the past behind. Come on now, surrender your mind. Just let all the tension unwind. Wake up to yourself, learn where you hold tight. Wake up to yourself, there's no need to fight. Feel it like it is, tighten even more. Learn to be aware and you'll open every door. So, so that's what I wish for you, that what we've done in these classes have opened doors for you so that you can become, so that you can move better, feel better in your life, and age with ease and grace, and live your unavowed dreams. And I teach classes each week. I'll send you new notes about those, and I'll send you details, Tanya, of that. And I also do private work online at the moment because of the COVID situation. That you're very welcome to make use of with me. So is there anything else you'd like to say before we finish? Or?
No, thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah. And it's been lovely. I've really enjoyed this week with you.
Yes.
I have an idea to do, I've called my sort of overall thing Aging with Ease and Grace. So it's learning to move with ease and grace. And I'd like to do teaching people to sing with use their voices, sing with ease and grace. And I also love dancing. So I'm going to think of doing dancing with ease and grace. And so, so that's my creative expression at the moment.
I like the dancing idea. I actually was a part of Kim's choir. I was.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not doing it on Zoom. It doesn't suit me. So.
Oh, doesn't it? Yeah.
No, but I really loved being in his choir.
Yes, I know he's great. Yes. Yeah. Well, he's the one I did the opera with, and he's who I talk about in my book. This sort of my great teacher. So,
he's amazing.
Yes,
he's also amazing.
Okay, well, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Bye.